Delay is not denial. Setbacks are not shutdowns. Closed doors are not rejection. They are redirection. And timing is everything in the kingdom of purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to speak to the part of you that's been waiting. The part that's tired of trying. The part that's doubting whether the breakthrough is still coming. You prayed. You prepared. You pushed. But the door is still closed. I'm here to declare to you today, don't worry. God will open the right door at the right time. Every closed door is a message, not a mistake. You see, in life, one of the most frustrating experiences is standing in front of a door that just won't open. You've knocked, you've prayed, you've waited, you've pushed with all your might, and yet, silence. Nothing moves, nothing shifts, and in that stillness we begin to assume something is wrong with us. But let me tell you something that will shift your mindset forever. Every closed door is not a mistake. It's a message. That job you didn't get. It wasn't because you weren't qualified. It's because God knew the environment would drain your spirit. That relationship that ended. It's not because you're unlovable. It's because God saw a future you didn't. And He refused to let you settle for pain packaged as love. That opportunity that passed you by. It's not because you weren't ready. It's because God was preparing a door that matched your design, not your desperation. Let's get real. Think about how many times you wanted something so badly, only to realize months or years later, thank God that didn't work out. You cried over it. You questioned yourself. You even doubted your prayers. But looking back, you see clearly that door was never meant to open. A closed door is not God ignoring you. It's God protecting what He placed in you. Sometimes we get so emotionally attached to a version of life, we imagine that we get offended when it doesn't unfold the way we hoped. But can I ask you this? What if that closed door saved your destiny? What if that delay was divine? What if your denial was the first step in divine direction? I want you to think of a GPS. When you're driving somewhere unfamiliar, you input your destination and the system begins guiding you. But the moment there's traffic, a roadblock, or construction ahead, what happens? It recalculates. It doesn't cancel the trip. It doesn't throw away your destination. It simply says, rerouting. That's what closed doors are in your life, divine rerouting systems. The goal hasn't changed. The promise hasn't shifted. But the path must be adjusted. Not because you're failing, but because God sees what you don't. Let me give you a story from daily life. A young woman I know was trying to start her own boutique business. She had the vision. She had the passion. She had the skill. But every door, investors' locations, permits, kept slamming shut. She fasted. She prayed. She cried. Still, the doors remained closed. She almost gave up until one day she was offered a job in a marketing firm. It wasn't what she prayed for, but she took it because she had bills to pay. A year later, she launched her boutique again. But this time, she didn't need an investor. She had saved enough. She didn't struggle with marketing because the job she didn't want had taught her how to build a brand, reach a target audience, and scale her vision. The first door had to close so the right room could be built within her. You see, when a door closes, it's not rejection. It's revelation. God is revealing that you were depending on the wrong system, the wrong timing, or the wrong people. He's showing you what needs to grow before the door opens. Because what's worse than a closed door is walking through a door unprepared, underdeveloped, and unaware. Do you remember the times when a door opened and you weren't ready? When you got the relationship you prayed for, but your emotional wounds sabotaged it. When you received a leadership position, but your character wasn't yet mature enough to carry it with integrity. That's why God closes doors, not to punish you, but to preserve you. There's power in a pause. There's purpose in the waiting. And there's revelation in every rejection. You're looking at a door that's shut, and thinking God has forgotten you. But what if He's just getting the room ready? What if behind that door, He's aligning the right people, setting the right stage, and organizing the right moment, so that when you walk through, you don't just enter, you elevate. Stop interpreting closed doors as final. They're not periods, they're commas. They're not the end, they're the redirection. Sometimes God will slam a door in your face, not because He's angry, but because He's building something better. Something your eyes haven't seen, your ears haven't heard, and your mind can't comprehend. Every time a door closes, ask, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of panic, choose perspective. Instead of worry, lean into wisdom. Because the longer you stare at the door that didn't open, the more you'll miss the one quietly opening behind you. You don't need every door. You just need the right one. And when the time comes, that door will not only open, it will welcome you like it's been waiting your whole life for you to arrive. The purpose is greater than the process. Let me tell you something that will change how you look at life forever. The purpose is greater than the process. You may not understand the path you're walking, but if you hold on to purpose, you'll survive the storms, the silence, and the setbacks. See, the problem with many of us is that we fall in love with the promise, but we despise the process. We want the crown without the cross, the results without the refinement, the open door without the long hallway that leads to it. But you don't get purpose without going through a process. Purpose is not magic. It's maturity. It's shaped. It's forged. And that process, that painful, lonely, uncertain process, it is the place where you become the person who can carry the weight of the promise. Let me make this plain. Imagine you've been given a key to a room filled with gold, but you've never learned how to manage money. What good is the treasure if you don't have the discipline to steward it? That's why the process exists, not to delay you, but to develop you. Because purpose without preparation will destroy you. Some of the things you're crying over right now are actually things God is using to equip you for what you asked for. You want leadership. You have to walk through criticism. You want abundance. You have to learn how to be faithful with lack. You want influence. You have to survive seasons of being ignored. That's the process. I remember a young man who dreamed of being a motivational speaker. He studied the greats, wrote speeches, posted videos, but no one listened. He had the fire, but not the following. He questioned his gift. He questioned his timing. But what he didn't realize was that life was shaping his message. Every no, every disappointment, every job he didn't want but had to take, that was his training ground. Every time he spoke to an empty room, he was learning how to speak from the soul, not for attention. And when the door finally opened for him to speak on a big stage, he didn't just have words, he had depth. Purpose is birthed in private before it ever shows up in public. You see, the reason we struggle is because we expect linear progress. We expect purpose to come with clarity and comfort. But the process doesn't ask you to understand. It asks you to trust. You have to trust that what feels like a detour is part of the design. You have to trust that what looks like failure is fuel. You have to trust that while everything around you looks like it's falling apart, inside you, something is falling into place. That's why some of you feel frustrated, because you've confused movement with meaning. Just because you're not moving fast doesn't mean you're not growing deep. Trees don't shout when they grow roots, but without roots, there's no fruit. The process is building roots in you. Patience, discipline, resilience, humility. The things success can't teach you. The things applause won't give you. Have you ever watched a sculptor work? At first, it looks like they're just hitting a block of stone. It's violent. It's messy. It looks like destruction. But they're not breaking it. They're revealing what's already inside it. That's what the process does. It chisels away everything that doesn't look like your purpose. the anger, the fear, the ego, the doubt. It's painful, yes, but it's necessary, because you're not just being shaped. You are being sculpted into something intentional. Let me bring this to your everyday life. Maybe you're a single parent working 2 jobs, trying to hold your family together, wondering why your breakthrough hasn't come. That struggle, that sleepless night, that strength you're building in silence, that's not in vain. It's a part of your process. You're not just raising children, you're raising warriors. You're not just working, you're modeling perseverance. You are becoming the evidence that even when life gets heavy, you don't break, you build. Maybe you're a student, sitting in a class you hate, studying a subject you don't even think you'll use. And you're wondering how this fits into your dream. But listen, it's not about the subject. It's about the discipline. It's about learning how to finish what you start. It's about learning how to show up, even when you don't feel like it. That's process. The reason so many people never walk in their true purpose is because they give up too early in the process. They confuse pressure with punishment. But the pressure is proof that something valuable is forming. Diamonds don't form in safe spaces. Neither does purpose. So don't despise the process. Don't curse the discomfort. Don't pray away the very thing that's producing greatness in you. You're not stuck. You're being shaped. You're not behind. You're being built. And while it doesn't feel glamorous now, while nobody's clapping, while no door has opened, this is where real champions are made. Because when the time comes and the door swings open, you won't just walk through it wondering if you're enough. You'll know that every step, every sacrifice, every tear, every lonely night was making you ready for what your purpose already knew was coming. God works in seasons, not seconds. God works in seasons, not seconds. And that right there will free your mind if you let it. Because we've been conditioned by a world of speed. Instant coffee, fast food, 5G internet, one-click shopping. Everything now. Everything fast. So when life starts moving slowly, when the answer doesn't come quickly, when the opportunity doesn't show up immediately, we start to question everything. We assume something's broken, something's wrong. We ask, why hasn't it happened yet? But here's what we forget: God is not in a hurry. He's in control. There is no rush in heaven. There is no panic in the presence of divine timing. The delay you're frustrated about is part of a design that's older and wiser than your own, because the Creator doesn't move by clocks. He moves by seasons. And in every season, something specific is being cultivated within you. Think about nature for a second. You don't plant a seed and expect a tree the next morning. You know there's a process. First, the seed goes into darkness, buried beneath the soil where nobody can see it. Nothing about it looks alive, but under that surface, something is happening. Roots begin to stretch. The seed begins to transform. But here's what's wild. If you try to force the seed to grow before it's time, you kill it. If you dig it up because you don't see anything, you destroy its potential. It's the same with your life. You're looking around saying, I don't see anything changing. But deep in the soil of your character, something is forming. You can't see the breakthrough yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't coming. It means the season isn't done yet. Do you know what happens when fruit is picked too early? It looks ready, but it doesn't taste right. It's bitter. It hasn't had enough time in the season to develop flavor, depth, and richness. That's what happens when you rush your own timing. You might end up in the right place, but with the wrong heart. You might get the platform, but not the maturity to carry it. You might gain the spotlight, but crumble under the pressure because the season you skipped was the one designed to strengthen your soul. I know you're tired. I know you feel like others are moving ahead while you're standing still. I know it seems like everyone else's door opened but yours. But remember this: comparison is a thief. Stop measuring your season against someone else's timeline. Their harvest has nothing to do with your seed. You don't know what they had to lose to get there. And they don't know what's being formed in your soil right now. Every person has a season, and every season has a purpose. There's a time to plant, a time to water, a time to grow, and yes, a time to wait. Waiting doesn't mean wasting. Waiting means trusting. Trusting that while nothing seems to be happening on the surface, God is working underneath, around, and ahead of you. Let me give you a story from everyday life. A friend of mine was building a dream from scratch. He had a plan, a passion, and enough talent to move mountains. But year after year, nothing major happened. He watched others rise while he stayed in the shadows. He kept working, kept showing up, but the big break never came. People told him to give up, to choose something safer. But he held on because he knew his season wasn't over. Then one day, out of nowhere, his work went viral. An opportunity came that placed him in rooms he could never have entered on his own. But what people called an overnight success was really a 10-year season of preparation. What looked sudden to others was sacred to him, because he knew how long the roots had been growing. Sometimes the reason God delays your open door is because He's working on people you haven't even met yet. He's positioning future connections, aligning unseen resources, orchestrating timing that will be perfect, not premature. What you see as slowness is actually synchronization. He's lining it all up so that when the season shifts, everything flows together. You don't want a blessing out of season. You don't want to walk through a door that leads to stress, confusion, and chaos. You want the door that opens and brings peace, clarity, and momentum. That only happens when you honor the season you're in. Maybe you're in a winter season right now. Everything feels cold, isolated, still. Don't rush it. Winter is not death, it's preparation. It's where strength is stored, where healing happens in quiet. Maybe you're in spring, a time of planting, a time where vision begins to awaken again. Celebrate the beginnings. Water your ideas. Don't despise small steps. Maybe you're in summer. Things are working, but it's hot. It's intense. It's demanding your focus and discipline. Or maybe you're finally seeing harvest. Doors are opening, favor is flowing, and you feel momentum. Whatever season you're in, honor it. Don't try to skip it. Don't despise it. Embrace it, because the same God who brought you to this season will bring you through it. Stop knocking where you're not assigned. Stop knocking where you're not assigned. This right here can save you years of frustration, heartbreak, wasted time, and emotional exhaustion. Some doors are closed not because you're unworthy, not because you lack talent, not because you're not trying hard enough, but because they were never yours to begin with. And the real tragedy isn't that the door didn't open. The tragedy is that we keep knocking, begging, chasing, forcing something that was never meant for us. We live in a world that teaches us persistence is everything. Never give up, they say. Keep trying until something works. And while persistence is powerful, direction is more important. Because it doesn't matter how determined you are. If you're running in the wrong direction, you're only getting further away from your destiny. Imagine this, you're in a hotel hallway with hundreds of doors. Behind one is everything you've been praying for. Purpose, peace, favor, alignment. But instead of waiting on the room assigned to you, you start randomly knocking. You knock on every door hoping someone opens it. You knock on rooms that don't belong to you. Some open, sure, but inside are people, situations, and environments that don't honor your value. Some doors open with glitter, glamour, and noise, but behind them is confusion, compromise, and chaos. And still, you stay because you're afraid that walking away might mean missing your shot. But let me ask you, what if staying at the wrong door is the very thing keeping the right one from appearing? We've been taught to prove ourselves, to hustle for validation. We chase companies, people, platforms trying to show them we're good enough, talented enough, worthy enough. But sometimes the silence isn't rejection. It's protection. It's heaven saying, that's not your door. That's not your room. That's not your assignment. You see, purpose has a frequency. And when you walk in alignment, the right door doesn't need to be forced. It recognizes you. It opens without resistance. It welcomes you without negotiation. But if you're too busy banging on unassigned doors, you'll miss the gentle whisper of destiny calling your name from down the hall. Let me bring it to real life. I know a guy, talented musician, heart full of vision. He kept trying to land a deal with big labels. Over and over, he auditioned, pitched, sent demos. Silence. He was crushed. One night he said to me, maybe I'm not meant to do this. Maybe I missed it. I told him, you're not unqualified. You're just knocking on the wrong doors. What if you stop chasing approval and start creating from assignment? He took a pause. He stopped sending demos. Instead, he started sharing his own music online. Raw, real, unfiltered. No filters, no begging. Just purpose. A few months later, a platform picked up his sound. Independent, authentic, powerful. He didn't chase the door. The door found him. Because assignment will always attract opportunity. You're not created to be tolerated. You're designed to be aligned. Aligned with the place, the people, the purpose that resonates with your spirit. If a room doesn't see your value, stop shrinking to fit. If a job doesn't recognize your gift, stop grinding just to survive. If a relationship makes you feel like you're too much, stop dimming your light to be accepted. You're not hard to love. You're just knocking where your soul isn't meant to live. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough comes when you let go of the door that won't open and turn toward the hallway of possibility you've been ignoring. We hold so tightly to what could be that we miss what's waiting for us. Closed doors can become idols. They trap our energy, our attention, our hope. But what if the best thing you could do today is walk away? This is not quitting. This is clarity. This is refusing to spend another second knocking where you're not called. This is saying, if it costs my peace, it's too expensive. If I have to become someone else to fit, it's not my fit. If I keep knocking and it never opens, it's not my door. You were never meant to chase purpose. It flows to those who walk in truth. You're not a beggar. You're not forgotten. You're not invisible. You are called, chosen, and strategically assigned. So instead of asking, why won't this door open? Ask, is this even my door? Because when you finally step into alignment with your assignment, the doors that matter won't require you to beg. They'll open by design. They'll swing wide with divine timing. They'll fit your soul like they were crafted just for you, because they were. Some of you need to take your hand off that handle. Stop trying to make it work with people who don't respect your worth. Stop pursuing platforms that only value your output and not your identity. Stop forcing friendships, jobs, partnerships that exhaust your spirit. You were made for more. And more is on the other side of the door that fits your name, your nature, and your anointing. Not every good opportunity is a God-assigned door. Not every open room is your room. You have to discern where your presence brings peace and where it only breeds pressure. You have to know when to say, this isn't rejection, it's redirection. You have to trust that every closed door is a setup for a greater opening, one that doesn't require you to knock, but simply to walk boldly into what has been waiting for you all along. The right door doesn't just open, it aligns. The right door doesn't just open, it aligns. When something is truly for you, you won't have to beg, break down, or betray who you are to access it. It fits. It flows. It confirms what your spirit already knew. The right door doesn't just open at the right time. It opens to the right version of you. Because divine doors are not random. They are relational. They respond to growth, to preparation, to alignment. And this is where many people miss it. They keep asking for the next level, but they're still holding on to habits, relationships, and mindsets from the last one. Let me tell you something that will shock you. In life, it's not about what you can force. It's about what you can align with. You can force an opportunity. You can hustle into a room. You can network your way into the spotlight. But if you're not aligned, you'll suffer in silence. You'll get what you thought you wanted and realize it's nothing like what you needed. Because forced doors come with a price, but aligned doors come with peace. Think about a key in a lock. You can jam the wrong key into a lock 100 times. You can shake it, twist it, apply pressure. It might even open, but not without damage. And if it doesn't break the key, it breaks the lock. That's how many of us are living. Forcing keys into locks that weren't designed for us, damaging ourselves and the opportunities around us in the process. But when the key is right, when the shape is right, when the alignment is right, you barely even have to turn. Click, and the door swings open. I know people who are chasing doors that don't reflect their design. People trying to be something they're not, just to be accepted. People hiding their authenticity to fit into rooms that don't recognize their value. That's not alignment. That's performance. And performance will always drain you, because when you perform for access, you can't stop performing once you're inside. And now you're stuck in a room where you can't be yourself. That's not a door. That's a prison. Alignment means it fits without fear. It fits without striving. It fits without compromise. And you know it not just because the opportunity looks good, but because you feel whole when you walk through it. Aligned doors match your identity, not just your ambition. They don't just give you a platform, they give you peace. They don't just elevate your name, they protect your soul. Let me give you an example. A woman I know worked for years in the corporate world. She was brilliant, successful, and miserable. Every morning felt like wearing a costume. She had the title, the salary, the perks, but none of it aligned with her purpose. She was living behind a door that opened because of pressure, not because of purpose. Until one day she walked away. Everyone called her crazy. She left the safety of what was known to pursue the uncertainty of what was true. She started small, mentoring young women, teaching writing. Slowly but surely, new doors opened. Not forced, not flashy, but flawlessly aligned. And now, she's thriving, not because she pushed her way in, but because she trusted that the right door would recognize her. See, alignment will always require authenticity. And that's why many never find it, because they're too busy pretending. But the truth is, you can't align with something if you're not honest about who you are. You can't align while you're still apologizing for your gift. You can't align if you're still asking people for permission to be powerful. Alignment demands you show up fully, even when it's uncomfortable. It demands courage. It demands integrity, because what good is an open door if you lose yourself walking through it? Look around you. Think about the doors you've walked through recently. Did they feel like pressure or peace? Did they require performance or authenticity? Did they drain your energy or deepen your joy? Because that's how you know. The right door doesn't make you feel smaller. It makes you feel settled. It makes you breathe deeper. It makes your spirit say, this is it. This is what I was made for. Let me speak to the people who feel stuck right now. Maybe you're waiting on a door to open. Maybe you're watching others get opportunities, get chosen, get promoted. And you're wondering, when is it my turn? But what if the delay is divine? What if the wait is actually a setup for alignment? What if the reason it hasn't happened yet is because something better is coming, something that fits you so perfectly that you won't even have to ask, is this it? You'll know. Deep down, you'll know. I've seen people force doors open and regret it. I've seen people step into relationships, jobs, platforms they weren't ready for simply because they were tired of waiting. But when you align instead of forcing, the blessing won't just come, it will stay, it will sustain you. It will stretch you, yes, but it won't strain you. That's the difference. Forced doors feel like friction. Aligned doors feel like flow. So stop asking, what door should I chase? And start asking, what version of me will attract the door that's meant for me? Because the key to the right door is not in your hustle. It's in your healing. It's in your honesty. It's in becoming so aligned with your truth that when the door appears, you won't have to knock. It will open in response to who you've become. Faith is for the waiting room. Not just the victory lap. Faith is for the waiting room, not just the victory lap. This right here will shatter shallow thinking. Because we live in a culture that celebrates the finish line, not the faith walk. We clap when people win. We shout when people get the promotion, the relationship, the platform, the breakthrough. But rarely do we celebrate the people who are in the waiting room of life. Quiet, unseen, battling self-doubt, holding on to promises that haven't yet materialized, still believing even when nothing makes sense. But if you only have faith for the spotlight and not for the shadows, then it's not faith, it's convenience. Let's get real. Everyone loves a miracle, but no one wants to be the one who needs one. Everyone wants a testimony, but nobody wants the test. Faith isn't just about dancing when the door opens. It's about standing when every door seems locked, when every prayer feels unanswered, when every step forward feels like a step into the unknown. It's believing in the rain while standing in a drought. It's saying yes to hope when fear is screaming in your face. Have you ever sat in a literal waiting room at the hospital or a government office? You walk in, take a number, and sit. You don't know how long it will take. You don't know when your turn will come. You don't know who's ahead of you or behind you. All you know is that you have to wait. Some people get restless. Some complain. Some leave too early. But the ones who wait with expectation, they're the ones who are seen. And faith in life is just like that. It's not passive. It's active expectation. It's sitting in life's waiting room, knowing your number is going to be called. Maybe not now, maybe not today. But when it's your time, nothing can stop what's coming for you. I've seen too many people give up in the waiting room. They start strong. I believe, they say. I trust God's timing, they shout. But then the days turn into months. The months turn into years. And the silence becomes louder than the promise. That's when real faith is tested. When the crowd is gone. When no one is clapping. When no one sees your discipline, your tears, your quiet obedience. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. Not the loud kind, but the lasting kind. Think about a woman pregnant with purpose. She doesn't see the baby on the first day. There's no heartbeat in week 1, no movement in week 2. But something's growing inside her. She starts planning, preparing, nesting. Why? Because she knows. Even if she can't see it yet, something's coming. And that's what faith looks like. It's preparing for what hasn't arrived. It's building for what you can't see. It's living like the promise is already on the way. One of the most dangerous mindsets is, I'll believe it when I see it. That's not faith. That's sight. But real, raw, unshakable faith says, I believe it before I see it. And not because I'm naive, not because I'm trying to be positive, but because I know who holds the clock. I know that if I'm in the waiting room, there must be a reason. Maybe I'm not waiting on the blessing. Maybe the blessing is waiting on me to grow, to mature, to learn, to heal. There's a story I'll never forget. A young man was praying for a career breakthrough. He was talented, driven, and focused. But every door seemed closed. For 3 years he waited. No callbacks, no yeses, just silence. But instead of quitting, he sharpened his skill. He worked in private. He showed up for small things. He helped others without asking for credit. And one day, out of nowhere, a company called. Not just any company, but the one he dreamed about. They told him, "We've been watching you. You weren't loud, but we noticed your consistency." See, that's faith. Not being the loudest in the room, but being the most faithful in the unseen spaces. That's what the waiting room is for. It's not a punishment, it's a process. It's where identity is forged. It's where pride dies and character is born. It's where the dream gets detoxed from ego and rebuilt with purpose. The waiting room teaches you that your value isn't based on visible progress. It teaches you that even when the world is silent, heaven is not. It teaches you to walk by faith and not by sight, to believe in the process even when the product hasn't shown up. People often ask, how do I know if God is still working when I see nothing happening? The answer is simple. Faith doesn't need signs. It lies by conviction. You don't need to see movement to believe in momentum. You don't need open doors to know the hallway still leads somewhere. Every day you choose hope over fear, trust over doubt, patience over panic. That's faith. So the next time you feel like you're stuck, overlooked, forgotten, remember this: faith is doing the work when no one is watching. Faith is praying the prayer when you feel unheard. Faith is sowing seeds in soil that looks barren, because you believe in a harvest that's not yet visible. Faith is not fragile, it's fierce. It's not passive, it's power in disguise. It's the quiet force that holds people together when everything else is falling apart. It's the inner fire that says, even if it doesn't happen the way I imagined, I'll still believe. I'll still trust. I'll still show up, because faith doesn't just belong on the mountaintop. It belongs in the long, silent, slow climb up. It belongs in the tension, in the stretch, in the unseen grind that shapes who you are when no one's looking. When the door opens, walk boldly. When the door opens, walk boldly. Don't tiptoe, don't second guess. Don't look back with hesitation. Walk like you were born for this moment. Because the worst thing you can do when opportunity meets destiny is to shrink. Too many people pray for doors to open, and when they do, they freeze. They let fear paralyze what faith has prepared. But the door didn't open by accident. It didn't open because of luck or chance. It opened because you were ready. It opened because something about your journey, your discipline, your resilience activated a moment that was waiting for you to step in with courage. Let me tell you something powerful. When the door opens, it's not just about you walking through it. It's about how you walk through it. The posture matters. The mindset matters. The energy you carry matters. You can't walk into a new level carrying the insecurity of your last season. You can't step into purpose while doubting your power. You can't enter the room questioning if you belong. You do. Not because of your resume, not because of your connections, but because your journey built something in you that the room needs. I've seen it too many times. People knock for years on opportunities, on platforms, on relationships. And then finally, the door opens. And instead of stepping forward with authority, they apologize for their presence. They question whether it's real. They start thinking, am I good enough? Do I really belong here? What if they find out I'm not as great as they think I am? That's the lie of fear trying to sabotage what faith has made available. That's the voice of past failures trying to speak into your future victories. You have to shut that down, because the door is not the reward. It's the assignment. And your response determines whether you just visit that level or actually occupy it. Imagine an athlete training for years, early mornings, late nights, constant discipline. Then the championship game arrives, the spotlight's on. The crowd is watching and the coach calls their name. Do you think that athlete tiptoes onto the field? Do you think they question if they're ready? No, they've trained too long, they've prepared too hard. They step onto that field with fire in their eyes because they know This is what I've been working for. That's how you need to treat your moment. Walk in boldness. Not arrogance, not ego, but boldness. There's a difference. Arrogance says, I deserve this. Boldness says, I'm ready for this. Arrogance is loud insecurity. Boldness is quiet confidence. It's knowing who you are. It's trusting the process that shaped you. It's honoring the pain that prepared you. Some of you are standing in front of doors right now. Opportunities you've prayed for. Relationships you didn't see coming. Platforms that align perfectly with your purpose. But you're hesitating. And let me tell you why. Because walking through a new door means leaving behind the comfort of what's familiar. It means shedding the skin of who you were to embrace who you're becoming. It means walking away from small thinking, from limited beliefs, from people who only knew the old version of you. And that's scary. But fear doesn't mean stop. It means go anyway. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have obedience. You don't need perfection. Just progress. You don't have to know how it will all unfold. Just take the first step. Because the bold walk is not about certainty. It's about trust. Trust that the same force that opened the door will carry you through. Trust that you're not stepping alone. Trust that you've been equipped with exactly what you need for this level. And listen, boldness is contagious. When you walk through your door with confidence, you give others permission to do the same. Your boldness becomes a signal. It tells fear it can't win here. It tells doubt to sit down. It tells the environment that something different just entered the room. Something unapologetic, something authentic, something prepared. I remember a young woman who got offered her dream job. She almost turned it down. Not because she wasn't qualified, but because she was afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of not fitting in, afraid of success. That's real. Success scares people more than failure. Because success means responsibility. It means visibility. It means rising to the level you were called to, not the level you're used to. But she said something powerful. She said, if I let fear drive this decision, I'll be stuck in a place I've outgrown. So she said yes. She walked through that door not because she felt ready, but because she chose boldness over comfort. And now, she's not just succeeding, she's thriving. She's leading. She's impacting others because she dared to walk through the door with power. You can't keep shrinking and expect expansion. You can't keep hiding and expect elevation. You can't keep doubting and expect destiny to unfold. When the door opens, it's a divine announcement your time is now. And your response must match the moment. So walk like the door was made for you. Because it was. Walk like your voice matters. Because it does. Walk like everything you've been through prepared you for this exact moment. Because it did. Let your boldness be louder than your fear. Let your purpose be stronger than your doubt. Let your steps shake the floor when you enter. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you finally understand you belong here. You've heard it. You've felt it. Deep in your bones, something is stirring. A fire that says, I was made for more. And now is the moment to declare it boldly, no matter the delay, no matter the detour. God will open the right door at the right time. Not a second early, not a moment too late. But right when your soul is ready, right when your character is refined, right when your faith can carry the weight of what you've prayed for. You didn't come this far to quit now. You didn't cry those tears, fight those battles, survive those nights just to live average. You were not born to blend in. You were born to break barriers, to shatter ceilings, to walk into rooms and shift the atmosphere because your presence carries purpose. And that purpose doesn't expire. Delay is not denial. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean it never will. It means something greater is being orchestrated behind the scenes. Sometimes, closed doors are the greatest blessings in disguise. They redirect you. They protect you. They develop you. Because had you walked through the wrong door too soon, you might have destroyed the very thing you were meant to sustain. So trust the process, trust the timing, trust the silence. Because even when it seems like nothing is moving, something is happening. The right door is not just being prepared for you. You are being prepared for it. And when that moment comes, when destiny knocks and the door swings wide, walk through it with the fire of a warrior and the calm of someone who knows exactly who they are. Walk in like David facing Goliath, with no sword, but full of spirit. Walk in like you've been called, not just qualified, because what's coming your way isn't just a position. It's a platform, a chance to inspire, a chance to lead, a chance to rewrite stories and uplift generations. Les Brown said it best, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. You weren't created to aim low. Your vision is not too big. It's just intimidating to people who think small. But don't let their fear shrink your faith. You've got something the world needs. Something no one else can duplicate. Your journey, your scars, your triumphs, they all tell a story. And when the right door opens, that story becomes your strength. Remember what Muhammad Ali said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." That suffering you went through, the nights you wanted to give up, the seasons you felt invisible, it wasn't wasted. It was working for your good. Champions are not crowned in the ring. They are built in the dark. So if you're still in the dark, don't panic. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. Steve Jobs once said, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward." Trust that every pain, every delay, every detour is a dot. And one day, it will all make sense. One day, you'll look back and say, if that door had opened back then, I wouldn't be who I am today. Thank God it didn't. Thank God He waited until I became the person who could handle it. So stop rehearsing your failures. Stop shrinking your dreams. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Speak life over your journey. Speak faith over your future. Remind yourself every single day, I am not behind. I'm not late. I'm not overlooked. I'm aligned. And when the right door opens, I will be ready, not just with talent, but with character. Not just with skills, but with strength. Not just with vision, but with boldness. So lift your head. Square your shoulders. Take the deepest breath of your life and tell yourself, this is my season of preparation. This is my season of power. And when my door opens, I won't knock like a guest. I'll walk in like I've already been chosen, because you have been. You're not waiting on luck. You're walking in divine timing. You are not hoping to be selected. You are destined to rise. Keep the faith. Keep your fire. Keep showing up. Because sooner than you think, everything will shift. And when it does, you'll remember these words, not as a speech, but as the truth that awakened the warrior in you.